Welcome back everyone to another Company of Heroes 2 replay cast, and this time it is going to be a 2v tournament sent in by KPET97, the glorious half-suck Mango, and his friend Thunderhun. Now, why do you two only play on Lear now? That's what I want to know. Because it seems like the last 17 games that you sent me were from this annoying map. But anyway, box of toothpicks playing as the USF, and Zombie Squad playing as the Soviets on the Eastern Spawn. Already picking that rifle company. Wants those flamethrowers, I guess, on the rear echelon troops. Because of course Leonel, with lots of buildings in the center area of the map, is going to be good for those flamethrowers. Not having those as the USF would have been annoying. Already, so we have double OKW, actually, I forgot to mention, from KP97 and Thunderhun. So, very strong with the double Storm Pioneer. Problem is, who gets the Kubo? Because, of course, somebody's going to need to get the Kubo. I'm guessing that Thunderhun, there it is, exactly, because he needs to capture the north with that Kubo. And in the south, they need the extra, I guess, staying power of the infantry. So KP97 going for a lot of folks for years is a logical step for Axis players. Whereas Zombie Squad and Box Fix, pretty simple for them. We have the Soviet player going for a Maxim and no conscripts and no penals, interestingly enough. Oh, he's also got free bulletins for Maxims. So this guy really just wants to spam a lot of Maxims, and that's risky. Interesting, but risky. Not quite as risky against the OKW as it would be against the Wehrmacht because of the lack of mortars, though. So I'm thinking that he's gambling that none of these players will rush for a support gun or something of the sort. Well, actually, he's going for a mortar himself. Interesting. So he just wants to be able to capture the center, using the mortar to dislodge enemy units from buildings and then move in the machine gun. Ooh, kind of a mistake here from KP97, letting the riflemen get into the building. These focus units should probably escape. And there goes an infantry unit. Alright now, riflemen lost already from Box of Toothpicks. I don't see where. Oh, here. Well, looks like it got chased by some Sturm Pioneers. Very good job from, I'm guessing, these Sturm Pioneers. So KP97 getting the first wipe of the game. In the meantime, in the north, Thunderhun is capturing pretty much everything. The Russian troops trying to troll the Kubo wagon aren't really going to be as successful in the long term. Whereas the Soviet player bringing in the Maxim is a little bit better, but nicely using the line of sight cover by the trees to hide the Sturm Pioneers from the fire of the Maxim. And then Spring the Trap comes in while the Maxim is actually facing the other direction so that he can... Oh, looks like he was actually targeting the Maxim and not the riflemen, which is unfortunate because the folks were just coming up. So if he had been able to destroy those riflemen with the Sturm Pioneers, he would have been able to just come in and probably force away the machine gun as well. Although with all these reinforcements coming in from the base, this is of course the problem of being very close to the enemy base, is that the enemies can just reinforce really quickly and come back on the field before you can. So right now, Zombie Squad, with pretty much no map control for the allies, is bringing in some units, and he needs to capture this strategic point as much as possible because he's got, again, 7 fuel income against 29 for the Germans, 36 German munitions per minute to 11 of the allies. So very, very bad situation right now for our players on the eastern side. They absolutely need to get something done about this, and it looks like they're kind of doing it. This Volksturnier squad is definitely in trouble. There's lots of allied riflemen firing on it. Sorry, I'm just pouring some water. I don't think it's going to get wiped by the engineers. Oh no, it did get wiped. Very good, because the riflemen managed to chase as well. So good coordination coming in from the allied players, getting a good counter-offensive going, and right now they're going to have to essentially be wary of these Storm Pioneers only. Storm Pioneers can indeed get around. Oh, this is not going to be that good for the Storm Pioneers if the machine gun fires, but the machine gun isn't firing, it's escaping. So, south part goes to the Germans, the north part goes to the Allies. Kind of an uneven trade because, of course, the fuel is in the north and there's 2 VPs in the north. Well, of course, one of the fuels is in the center. So, the Germans are going to be stuck with the munitions and one less VP for now. But I'm sure that the Germans can come back from this. It's really not that big of a defeat. They only lost one squad, really. Kübelwagen is just waiting some repairs. And yeah, there's just these Sturm Pioneers available. Right now, Thunderhun has the battle group quarters set up, but he's also gone for a second SWS supply half-track. So he maybe wants to go for a King Tiger, and he wants to get out the mechanized early. Not sure why he would do that, though. I'm quite unsure. He may want a Stuka to deal with the Soviet player. But then again, KP-97 is going for a mechanized himself, which is what perplexes me. It's very weird, that choice of buying a second supply half-track. It might just be for, I don't know what reason. Maybe he just wants the supply half-track there so that he does not just forget about it. Forget about buying the supply half-track when he actually has the resources for a sure Panzer headquarters. He might be doing that. Yeah, I think that's the most likely answer. Meantime, oh, these poor Volksgrenadiers getting forced away from, I'm guessing, the rear lines of the Allies. AT gun on the field for the Soviet player. Of course, with the tier 2, he's very, very well positioned to counter any light vehicles from the Germans. Light vehicles, we have the Lukes coming in. So Lukes, of course, very dangerous, especially for the American player. American player is lacking in terms of AT. He's gone for the Lieutenant Tech. So that means that he's not going to have the anti-tank gun as well as the bazooka of the captain. So that could be pretty bad for him if he does not rely on his ally as much as he can. Of course, the Zis-3 alone is also pretty weak against the Lukes. The problem for the Allies right now is there's only one unit in their whole force that is capable of snares, which is this rifleman, this veteran 1 rifleman. The other units are really not capable of doing anything. So whenever the Lukes is actually facing anything else, it can just be very, very aggressive. Now, of course, the Allies may keep this concealed from the Germans for a while, but I'm sure that KP-97 has noticed that his opponent isn't going for a lot of conscripts or some penals to get either the anti-tank grenades or the satchel charges. So probably he's going to be very, very aggressive with the Lukes. And if he's not, then I don't know. The AT gun is a cause of concern, as would be mines. No mines are on the field, but the Germans need to be wary about them regardless. Now, KP-97, the glorious half-suck mango, he's going for some support package. So the Kübelwagen scouting ahead. Pretty nice idea. The problem is the AT gun is well positioned, gets a pot shot off on the Lukes, and gets quite a bit of damage off on that, so the Kübelwagen is kind of alone and gets destroyed in the rear by the AT gun. Very nice job from that support weapon. Yeah, so both German players have those support packages, so they have minesweepers on the Pioneers. Problem is, they need to be able to get close to the Allied lines to actually use this, the minesweeping. Because, of course, there's this machine gun, which is going to probably go down. Very close to the Lukes. No, don't move the Lukes. Oh, that was, I think, a mistake. He could have just kept the Lukes there, and if the AT gun were to fire, he could have just, you know, used the AT gun. AT gun's like limited line of sight, gotten back behind the building. Anyway, machine gun goes down anyway from a nice flank from the Sturm Pioneers. However, also a German squad went down in that. I believe well, no. Seems like all the Volksgrenadiers escaped. Weird. And then even the lieutenant is forced to retreat, especially thanks to some friendly fire from the PM-41 mortar. The machine gun is very open for taking. However, the Sturm Pioneers are only at 3 men, so they don't want to sacrifice the existence of the squad to actually capture that gun. And right now, the crew of the mortar actually forces back the Sturm Pioneers from the machine gun. At this point, I think a push from the Lukes is very possible, coming through a unexpected direction, for example, the south. Because, of course, the AT gun is right now up here, and he's just kind of waiting for the Lukes to show up. Interestingly, he's not keeping the AT gun set up He's just keeping it moving. And that's kind of an interesting choice, so that he's, in case he's flanked, he does not have to pack up and wait for the additional time for the packing up and resetting of the gun, refacing everything. He has a slight edge in terms of flexibility with the setup. And right now, he's going to be firing at the Lukes, but the Lukes very, very easily can just move back. This is pretty good, as right now, of course, the Lukes is just a big, big danger for the German, well, both the Germans and the Allies, actually, because if the Germans lose that Lukes, then they're going to be in trouble. Very good sort of a capping spree from these riflemen, and that's kind of okay. It's going to force a couple of German units to redeploy down south. A couple of Rockendwerfers on the field for KP-97. Pretty prudent move. I think that's a decent decision. Also, we have the first Oberstland from Thunderhun. He's going to be able to use those with those machine guns, the MG-34s, to clear out, especially the riflemen and the lieutenant. Very dangerous to the German troops right now. Not going to be any more. And indeed, it was a Schwer Panzer headquarters that Thunderhun wanted to go for. So, wait, what? Oh, 57mm. It was a Schwer Panzer headquarters that Thunderhun wanted to go for, so I guess he just didn't want to, forget about the Schwer Panzer. Or maybe he just misclicked. And we have a Goliath, so we have the Overwatch Doctrine being picked by Thunderhun, and he's trying to use the Glorious Goliath. Oh, that might not be the best choice, retreating in the face of a Goliath. I'm not sure. I don't think the Goliath can actually outrun squads in the retreat, but maybe with those obstacles there. There goes another Volksgrenadier by Thunderhun. Unfortunately, he's losing a lot of Volksgrenadiers, and that's kind of hurting his capping power, allowing the Allies to come in and get some captures done. Captain with Bazooka also forced to retreat by the Goliath. This Goliath is just a menacing monster. He's just making everybody retreat, and right now here comes the first Soviet vehicle, a T-79 thing. I think this is a terrible decision at this point in the match. There's 3 Rockendwerfers right now for the Germans. 3 Rockendwerfers right now on the field for the Germans. And while that can, just not come into play if they're just kept in the rear, in general, I think that the purchase of a Luke's T-70 at 12 minutes in the game is just kind of, oh, that's dangerous. Yep, grenade, very, very good pineapple. Takes out lots of Volksgrenadiers. Yeah, to think that the T-70 purchase so late in the game is just very, very risky by itself, especially when you could just be going for the next tier and going for a T-34-76, which is exactly the same thing except just better and also not really more expensive. Just a tiny bit more expensive, 10 fuel. Yeah, the Allies still have the control of the north, which I wasn't expecting to see at this point. At this point, I thought that the Germans would have, by now, recaptured some areas, or at least put some more pressure on the north. And there goes the Goliath on the T-70. Very good ambush from the Goliath. Happy I got to actually witness it. Glorious usage of that ability. 100 munitions, worth it. As KP-97 is quick to point out. Now, this situation isn't going to last forever because we have the where is it? Yeah, we have the support gun for the Germans. So support gun, very strong because, oh, that Lutz is in trouble. Needs to retreat as quickly as possible. Took 2 shots from 2 different interlocking fields of fire of AT guns. Both the Soviet one and the American one, and it goes down to the very strong rifle grenade from the riflemen, and of course that was worth for the Allies. Yeah, again, the support gun and the Stuka eventually will work towards the downfall of the Allies if they stay too turtly, and that was definitely a terrible Stuka, KP-97. As I always say, the first barrage with an artillery piece is really what you want to be impactful, and right now that was a very, very unfortunate circumstance that the Stuka barrage completely failed. Oh, demo charge. Very good job from the Allies. Using their mines and demo charges is something that they absolutely need to do as much as possible if they want to be successful, especially the demo charges for the Soviet player. Zombie Squad is also floating 1,100 manpower. I think at this point a couple of conscripts and the anti-tank grenade package would be very, very welcome for him, because he needs something to actually snare vehicles. If some vehicle gets behind his AT gun, And yeah, he's got 2 AT guns, so I guess you could call it a line now. If something gets behind that, he needs something that can just stop it. And even if some infantry gets behind the line of Maxims, the 2 Maxims, he needs something that can be a little bit more versatile to actually cover the flanks. And 2 combat engineers will not cut it. Of course, you can use them for laying down mines and damage charges, but for fighting, Oh, he was waiting for some guards. Okay, so he's gonna go for the mechanized support. Mechanized support is gonna allow him to go for an ISU-152 assault gun later on. Pretty strong little vehicle. If you can use it correctly, it is very, very vulnerable to certain types of flanking maneuvers and in general to long-range fire from things like elephants. And the Sturmtiger, which is available to Cape in 97. I hope that we'll see the Sturmtiger because it is really, really good. But yes, oh, that Goliath will definitely go down and probably take the shoe mines with it. Rip. So that was a lot of munitions, 130 munitions down the drain from just a couple of shots from a BAR. And yeah, that was not happy for the Germans at all. Here comes the Stuka barrage on the north, does a heck of a lot of damage to some combat engineers, but not much more. So the Stuka, and I'm guessing the support gun as well. Where the heck is this? Where is the support gun? Right here. They're starting to kind of make themselves felt, which is of course what the Germans wanted to see. The thing about the artillery is that, of course, it's going to have to pay for itself in the long term. So the more the game gets dragged out, the more the artillery is going to be useful to the Germans. Guards Riflemen, definitely strong with the DP-28s against Volksgrenadiers and to some extent against the Sturm Pioneers. But against the Obersoldaten from Thunderhund, they're not going to do quite as well. So the Soviet player is going to still have to find some kind of solution to deal with the Obersoldaten. Although so far he can just use the guards to keep control over the north area of the map, especially when they're upgraded. And in general, support his weapons in the defense. His problem right now is, ironically, the lack of munitions. Sorry for that burp. He just wants more munitions to be able to throw more grenades and upgrade more of his units. But he's just not finding. Of course, also to lay down mines, which is very important. But he's just not finding munitions. And at this point, this is kind of also because the Allies weren't quite as active on the southern part of the map. This looks to be changing, however. Nice push coming in from Box of Toothpicks. 1 rifleman and 1 rear echelon troops forging away the 2 Obersoldaten is very, very good. Looks like something participated in that, but it killed Americans. I'm guessing it was another Goliath from Thunderhun. How many Goliaths did he spawn? 2. No, so there was not a Goliath. Interesting. That looks like something that would have been created by a Goliath. A nice crater. Anyway, yeah, so the Allies are going to be able to get a sort of a toehold in the south. Of course, they're going to get forced away by some Volksgrenadiers trying to counterattack. Here comes the Stuka barrage on empty ground. Never mind. Kills the Zescan crew. And I'm guessing that was non-veteran one. Unfortunate, but still prevents it from getting a lot more veterancy than what it already had. So pretty decent job coming in from the Germans using that Stuka. So KP-97 has gotten a pretty decent little hang of it with the Stuka. So far only 9 kills, but I'm expecting the number to actually grow very quickly. Let's just speed it up. There's not much going on right now. Just a bit of a counterattack in the south from the Allies, and so of course the Germans are actually kind of getting boxed into the trucks, which is kind of a problem with the OKW. Sometimes you just get boxed into the trucks, you just turtle up a little bit too much, and then the Allies can use their artillery to just rain down on you. The problem for the Allies is that they don't have any artillery. We do have a tier 4 on the field for Zombie Squad finally, and he's bringing out a T-34-76. No Katyusha yet. Also, he does not have available the ML-20 artillery gun. So, Box of Toothpicks is going to have to kind of fill in with nothing, actually. He could try to go for some pack howitzers or some mortars, but with the amount of troops he's already got in the field, he's got 4 riflemen, actually no, 3 riflemen, 1 rear echelon troop, 1 captain, 1 lieutenant, 1 machine gun, and 1 AT gun. So he's got a pretty impressive amount of infantry and, in general, soft targets. He does not have the pop cap or the manpower income to go for something like a pack howitzer. He's also brought out a Sherman Easy-8, which is of course very, very strong. The problem is the Germans are going to bring in their vehicles soon enough. KP-97 has also reached the tier 4, as well as Thunderhun has gone for a mechanized as well. So he's going for the King Tiger absolutely at this point. 260 resources, fuel resources in the bank. So he's got that pretty much on lockdown. Here comes the Panzerfaust on that Easy-8, but the Easy-8 is going to be able to escape, pretty much. The 476 tried to run over the German infantry. German infantry very, I guess wisely, decides that it's better to just book it. Problem with this T-34-76 at this point is the fact that there's lots of AT weapons on the field for the Germans, as we already saw. Lots of Rickens around, and also the Germans aren't laughing when it comes to mines. They're being very serious about it. They're placing down those mines, which is of course a very, very decent decision. And we have the Sturm Tiger on the field for Half-Stuck Mango. This is of course very strong. I mean, I don't really have to explain why. I'm gonna anyway. It can just fire and wipe out squads without the enemies even realizing it, because it can, with its long range, kind of stay behind some obstacles, stay outside of the line of sight range of some allied troops, aim, and just complete bliss, just not caring about anything, undetected, fire and wipe out squads without warning. That is why it is very, very strong. Even if it's spotted and in full view of the enemy, it can still act as a deterrent, because of course the enemies see where the main rocket is aiming. So of course they're going to try to avoid it as much as possible, and if they don't avoid it, then they get wiped. So that's why the Sturm Tiger is just still very strong, coupled with a pretty limited price tag of 160 fuel. Bit more in terms of manpower, 560, but that's just the price you have to pay. Interesting shot, KP-97. You could have nailed the Sherman and probably the rear echelon troop as well had you been a little bit less rash with the Sturm Tiger shot. With the Sturm Tiger, you have to be kind of patient, because the reload time is very, very long. I think it's like 90 seconds, right? I think it's 90 seconds. I don't remember. But yeah, you don't really want... Here comes the Stuka. Don't really want to waste the shot. It's a bit like an artillery unit that looks like an assault gun. Ooh. Sector assault coming in. 250 munitions being expended for that sector assault just to pin down some infantry. Of course, there's going to be bombing runs coming in, but they miss. There wasn't really a lot of things to target in this area, so I'm very puzzled by that choice from Thunderhun to go for a sector assault instead of just, you know, going for some Goliaths or upgrading his... Well, he doesn't need to upgrade, or placing down mines. I don't know, anything else. He's got a King Tiger though, so he doesn't really care. He's got the big strong tank, and he's going to be focusing on actually microing it, I'm guessing. Only one Easy-8 on the field still for Box of Toothpicks. Of course, he can try to flank the King Tiger, which is right now being very, very aggressive. I don't think this is the best decision possible. There's only one Volkskrieger in your squad, and to be fair, lots of Raken Rivers covering KT. Sturm Tiger has reloaded, and so can now use its strong 380mm rocket to fire on some poor Americans or Soviets. And this is especially vulnerable to the Germans right now. This ambulance point right outside the base, completely out in the open, might not be the best thing. The Allies may need to revise that position. Bring it perhaps over here at the crossroads of these dirt tracks. Right now, KT is kind of firing with impunity, but the problem for the Germans is that it's got a very exposed rear. There was absolutely nothing covering the south. And it's very lucky that the Allies are being very slow about it. Interesting little choice, firing with the Sturm Tiger against the AT gun. The AT gun somehow manages to survive that, but at the same time, the ambulance goes down. 3 AT guns are just pounding on the frontal armor of the KT. Frontal armor of the KT is going to be able to hold up against a lot of those shots, but at the same time, very nice flank from the rifleman, manages to get a rifle grenade into the rear engine, thus damaging it. And at this point, with the support of the AT guns and the guards coming in, I don't think this King Tiger is going to be able to escape. Especially since the guards, well, the guards can use the button vehicle, but also here comes the Easy-8. Very nice. Bombing run from the Soviets' Il-2 precision bombing strike finishes it off. Probably a little bit unnecessary, but manages to destroy it, and that's a very, very bad loss for the Germans. Thunderhun going absolutely too aggressive. He thought he had the game in the bag. He didn't. The Allies still had enough forces to repel the AT gun, thanks to a very good flank and the very lackluster flank coverage of the Allies and the Germans, sorry, that allowed the Allies to actually come in from the south. For the Germans, however, this isn't a complete disaster. Cape-97 still has his veteran C2 Stuka at 26 kills. He's also still got the Sturmtiger, so the Allied infantry and especially the Allied support weapons are going to be living in fear of those two German units. And the Sturmtiger especially is very strong because it's being covered by all the Raketenwerfers that Cape-97 is sporting. And of course, that's very, 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 very dangerous for something like an Easy-8. Easy-8 right now going to be forced to retreat from the Raketenwerfers. And right now, the Allies absolutely need something to counter the German artillery, because otherwise they're just going to be taking damage after damage after damage from the artillery strikes. Right now, they're kind of lucky that they're still holding the north, in fact, because the Allies have been focusing their artillery more on the American player in the south. And I'm thinking that that Focus Grenadier squad is going to go down if the Easy-8s chase. Indeed, order number 228 from the Sturmtiger blows up his own troops. You shall not retreat on the order of the Führer. And that was a bit of an interesting little shot by Cape-97. I think he thought that the Easy-8s were going to chase, so he wanted to be cool and predict. Oh, no. He destroyed his own Raketenwerfer to prevent the capture from the enemy. And he almost wiped out one of his own squads in the meantime, so that's kind of the side effect. Expendable losses. Yeah, I think I actually agree with that Sturmtiger shot. It was just pretty rash, considering his troops were in the area, a bit of a danger zone. Coming artillery barrage in the north takes out some people from the AT gun crew. Right now, the Azu-152 Zvieraboy is on the field, and that's gonna be fairly useful against the Sturmtiger, actually. With its AP rounds, which is right now does not have equipped, it can be very, very strong against the Sturmtiger because it has the range to deal with it. Problem is that it has to switch rounds again, so it is very, very vulnerable while it's switching. It is very, very vulnerable when it is being used sort of extensively to fire at infantry, sort of, I guess, telegraphing that it doesn't have AP rounds loaded so that the Germans can then bum rush in. At this point, Cape-97 to half Suck Mango doesn't have enough resources to go for a Panther, but that would be the correct counter for the Zvieraboy. Now, the problem is he does not have the resources in order to POGCHAMP, so he would have to lose something and get some more income. But at this point, he's just going to be left to use whatever he's got to just scare it off, which is mainly these Raketenwerfers, and I guess the threat of getting shot by the rocket of the Sturmtiger as well. Nicely using salvage, by the way. Both of the German players, what the... How did that not kill even one of the Volksgrenadier? That is something I will never even think about. Yeah, very good job by the Germans using a lot of the salvage feature, not allowing the Allies to actually regain control over the weapons that they decrewed, not even allowing the Allies to destroy the vehicle wrecks. I saw them earlier salvaging something that was over here. I don't really remember. I think AT-3476. So, in general, just getting some extra resources. What the? What? Random bombs. I'm thinking that was the end of the sector assault. In the north, this Zvieraboy is just killing Germans. But the problem is, it's just slow. It's actually not killing anyone. Well, as I say that, it wipes out a machine gun crew. Very lucky for the Germans that they hadn't even killed anyone yet, because again, you know, it's a big, strong IC-152. You don't really, ooh, Easy-8. Double easy 8. Yeah, you don't really fuck with this thing, but the problem is, it's just got such a low reload speed. Right now it's going to be firing at the battle headquarters, but the Germans don't really have any way to actually counter that push. I'm guessing that they're just going to let the battle headquarters fall, especially since there's a very nice flank coming in from the south from the Easy 8s, destroying or abandoning the Sturm Tiger as it was reloading. Of course, the Sturm Tiger is very vulnerable to getting abandoned while it is reloading, so of course the Germans are going to recapture it quite quickly. They still have the battle group vertigors up, but it's going to go down. They still have the one in the base from KP97, so they're not going to lack for healing. The problem is, of course, Thunderhunt is going to be not having his forward retreat point, and he's going to lose a pretty decent little position that he had. Right now, Easy 8's forced to retreat by the Swarm of Reckenwerfers. Swarm of Reckenwerfers, which is right now the saving grace for KP97. He was strung. What the? Dude! Oh! 2 Sturm Tiger. Because it abandoned the first Sturm Tiger, he called in a second one. You cannot see it right now, but I'm scratching my hair because I think this might be the best thing I ever saw. 2 Sturm Tigers! What? Like, when do you see that? Okay, that's pretty funny. That's pretty fucking amazing. Anyway, so the Germans definitely have ample time to... Oh, rip. They definitely have ample time to recover with 2 Sturm Tigers. If they manage to get some wipes and some very good shots... Oh, I'm not sure I would send the King Tiger against the IC-122. I'm really not sure, because of course the AP rounds from this thing can do quite well against the KT. Again, low reload speed. Here comes the Stuka rockets, not really doing a lot, but at the same time, the Allies are taking huge casualties from other things. Huge damage coming in on the American infantry. All of the American troops are absolutely slaughtered. Down to 2 men from the lieutenant squad. There also goes a Easy 8 because it decided to do a weird maneuver. It decided to like U-turn and then move forward. I'm not sure why it went for that. Clearly didn't pass the driving tests, but yet they sent him into combat anyway. And so 2 Easy 8s are up against 2 Sturm Tigers, and a KT is up against the ISU-152. ISU-152 in the meantime is still just doing its own thing, just smashing German troops to bits and dust. And yeah, rip Reckenwerfer. It was nice knowing you. You missed. It was nice knowing you. I hope that he does not miss this time, so that the dramatic effect isn't lost. Oh, excellent grenade by the guards. Guards are still very useful for the Allies. The problem is pretty strong damage. Very good shot from that Sturm Tiger. Yeah, these 2 Sturm Tigers are the problem for these guards, because if the guards try to do anything about the Sturm Tigers, well, especially with 2 on the field, because 2 Sturm Tigers opens up the interesting possibility of, let's say they're like this, right? Imagine that these 2 are not anti-tank guns, but they're guards. So you could fire 1 Sturm Tiger shell like here and 1 like here, and it would wipe out whatever's in the middle, even if it decided to try to dodge. Because if it dodged this way, it would run into the Sturm Tiger shot. If it dodged this way, it would run into the other Sturm Tiger shot. So I guess that's something creative that you can do with 2 Sturms. Just prevent the Allies from having the chance of actually dodging your rockets. That could be very, very strong from KP97, especially as he also has Stuka. So he's also got another way of just dealing with static targets. That's been doing quite well. Easy 8's not going to be able to deal with the King Tiger head on, and they're going to have to try to do some kind of flanking maneuver, which is where the mines come in. I'm not sure why, well, probably just the fact that he's microing elsewhere. Thunderhunt at this point has some extra munitions, which is, you know, what I was wondering about. Why he's not planting more mines, I think that would be a good decision. I'm not sure. I think that maybe like here, I don't know, maybe here. Once he's like pushing out, would be a pretty okay choice. But yeah, not really anything else to think about. So, okay, that's an interesting little position for the KT. The KT is taking lots of fire from the EZ8s, and right now the Sturm Tiger blocks the retreat path of the KT, which is unfortunate, but there's some Raken Riffers. What? Where was that Raken Riffer? I saw a rocket coming in. Not sure. Weird. Yeah, that's not good. That's very not good for the KT. First, EZ8 gets its main gun damage, which is of course bad, but it's still firing on it instead of the other EZ8. King Tiger goes down. The Sturm Tiger kills something, a rear echelon troop. No, it's still alive. And the Sturm Tiger right now, it's being chased by the EZ8, but the EZ8 is going to have to retreat. In the meantime, the IS-152 is looking the wrong way, and it's also dead. It's a carcass, and that's weird. So the Allies definitely lost that, in my opinion, because Thunderhun is going to be able to replace the King Tiger eventually, and the IS-152 just got replaced. So the overall balance of power didn't really shift in the permanent, right? In the long term, it's still pretty much the same. They're going to have the same amount of units on both sides. The difference that I see is that the Allies are losing more infantry. Now, Thunderhun doesn't have a lot of troops on the field, but he's been doing without lots of infantry for a long, long time. So I'm not really worried for him, because he's just not really been having lots of infantry this game. He's lost a lot in the early game, and he's been doing without. Oh, that was an excellent Sturm Tiger shot. And of course, Cape 97, the glorious half-sucked Mango, he's got a decent little force as well. Well, just like the Soviet player. But the Allies are really starting to lose a lot, and it's starting to tell in terms of the manpowers. As you can see, the Germans in the reserve have a pretty decent amount of manpower that they can expand their forces with. They can reinforce quite well. They can get some extra Raken Riffers if they need be. Whereas the Allies aren't really doing quite as well as they could be doing. What's really coming in the favor of the Allies right now is the vehicle situation. But once the King Tiger is replaced, that's not going to be quite, you know, in the favor of the Allies. Now, still very interesting that Thunderhun is being so very aggressive with the KTs, but hey, third time's the charm, right? I think that the third KT is going to be able to pretty much be the one that decides it, because there comes a point when the Allies are just going to run out of veteran troops. They've already run out of veteran support weapons, and once they run out of veteran infantry as well, that means that they really don't have any way of dealing with the Obersoldaten anymore. Especially without their AT guns, they can't really deal with another King Tiger. The veteran AT guns, I mean. So I'm not really sure what the Allies are going to try to do. I mean, lots of EZ8s can work, but they're going to need support from the Soviets, and the Soviets right now could try to go for a T-34-76 or a Katyusha. I myself would lean for a Katyusha to deal with the Obersoldaten. There goes another Guards Rifleman squad, and that's exactly what I love about the Sturm Tiger. That was not in the sight range of the Guards. The Guards had absolutely no warning that that was coming, except they could have tried to predict it, which was quite, I think, obvious, but hey, I'm not the one playing. Yes, the support gun is at 29 kills, whereas the Stuka is at 38, I think. That's, yeah, 38 kills. So both of the artillery little teams from the Germans proving their worth. Of course, that's just because they've been left alone for a long, long time. The Germans having the artillery superiority is not something that you see every day in 2v2s. Of course, in 2v2s, artillery is extremely important. Some would say even overpowered, because it's just got the ability to just constantly laser focus onto somebody, reduce their forces, just force them to replace the troops, lose veterancy, not be able to capture points. Of course, with the dynamism of a 2v2, combined with the fact that it's already a team game, so there's sometimes lots of stalemate, as we saw right here in the north, where the Allies had lots of defenses set up. The ability to just have the superior artillery is very, very important. It's not, I guess, mandatory like in 4v4s, but it is definitely very, very nice to have. Jagdpanzer? What? I'm not sure. I don't think that's the best decision against the Isu-152. I mean, the Isu-152 is going to be able to pretty much defeat the Jagdpanzer until it gets bet 5. And by the time the Jagdpanzer gets vet 5, you could have gotten a King Tiger. Well, you probably could have gotten 2 King Tigers by the time that gets vet 5. Very good Sturm Tiger shot. Also takes out the weapon crew because it was at minimum HP already. So the second Sturm Tiger, this is definitely a little bit too close to the action. It's in range of the SU-152, which could be trying to stun it with its HE rounds or shoot it with the armor piercing. In fact, he's got the HE rounds. Very lucky that it does not do that because it was busy dodging, and very lucky that the EZ-8 and the AT guns already managed to get a lot of damage off on the Sturm Tiger or a stun, which would have spelled the probably death of the Sturm Tiger. In the meantime, it seems like in the south, we're having some pretty much nothing. So the Germans still have those points pretty much for free, except for a couple of points that every once in a while get decapped by the Allies. The problem for the Germans in the south is that they have a lot of Obersoldaten, which means not a lot of infantry, and because they're of course very expensive. And of course that means that they can't really spare the Obersoldaten to just go around and deal with random veteran 1 riflemen and the lieutenant and maybe the rear echelon troops coming in the south. Well, of course they can, but it's not really optimal, and so they'd rather just keep the Obersoldaten in the center and the north, actually fighting for points that are worth fighting for. And they just keep the VP under control from a machine gun, 2 machine guns actually, and a support gun, which is going to be more than enough to deal with any infantry pushes, and in general just be quite okay. So they just want to keep the VP there so that they never get triple capped. Because of course, for a long time, the Germans didn't really get triple capped because they had that southern VP under their control. Salvaging the King Tiger very nicely, gonna get quite a lot of resources out of that. And in the meantime, excellent shot from the Sturm Tiger, disables the SU-152's engine for a temporary lifespan. The problem is that the Germans don't really have anything to follow up on that. At this point, however, the Germans are really starting to pull ahead with their long-term strategy of having the Sturm Tigers and having the artillery. Yeah, still, the element that kind of puzzles me is the Jagdpanzer. I mean, it's getting some veterancy by just firing at the SU-152, which is a very fat target that it's very hard to miss. It's also very hard to not spot, and in general, it's just a pretty easy pickings for the Jagdpanzer to fire on. When the SU-152 is going to start returning fire with some AP rounds, however, I'm not really liking the chances of the Jagdpanzer. Of course, Zombie Squad is not actually equipping the AP rounds, like, ever, which is strange, especially considering that there's so many just Sturm Tigers and Jagdpanzers and eventually King Tigers running about. Thunderhound has just called in something else, this fuel. What is it? Not sure. A very good flank from those EZ-8s coming in from the north, absolutely unexpected from the Germans. Takes out the Jagdpanzer. Yeah, unfortunate. Unfortunate. I'm not gonna say that I was right, but I was right. Ooh, these two Shermans are in a very, very bad little position. They get very hurt by the Sturm Tiger. Luckily for the Allies, there is no Raketwerfer standing around in stealth mode, ready to take advantage of that. Su-85 on the field for Zombie Squad is probably a pretty decent choice, but at the same time, here comes a Stuka close air support. Very, very, very excellent bombing run. Takes out one of the Shermans and a support weapon there. I'm not sure what that was. I just saw a counter disappearing, so I'm thinking that that was a support weapon. So, pretty nice. Gets kill. 2 Raketwerfers still on the field for the Allies to recapture. KP-97 going. Wow. 2 Sturm Tigers and a King Tiger. So KP-97 is just going for the menagerie. I'm just gonna call it. So Thunderhound was actually building another Jagdpanzer, and Jagdpanzer, again, I'm just not too sure about it. There goes another Guard Squad. Glorious, glorious Sturm Tiger. Yeah, this is not good for the Allies. There's absolutely nothing that they can do. Well, there is something that they can do, which is more of the same with the medium tanks. They need to be flanking with the medium tanks. They need to be sort of dynamic and mobile in their attacks. They can't just be attacking from all of one side. Close. They can't just be attacking from one side every time, and that would be pretty much a motto for them. The problem is, the Germans are starting to get better at defending their flanks, and in general, the forces with which the Allies can mount a successful flank are starting to run very, very scarce. Namely, 2 Easy 8s pretty much constantly, when at this point in the game you'd want to have more than 2 Easy 8s. You'd want to have 2 or 3 or 4 even. Yeah, because at 50 minutes, you've had a long time to actually build up your Easy 8 force. But it seems like the Germans didn't really have as much, What was that Sturm Tiger shot? Anyway, it seems like the Allies didn't really have an easy time actually keeping their tanks alive. Su-85 for the Soviets is a step in the right direction. The problem is it's very, very vulnerable to the Sturm Tigers. It is good against the Königstiger, of course, as it is pretty much able to just kite away from the KT and shoot it at long range. K-97 is very euphoric about something. Not sure. Anyway, center still under the control of the Germans, south still under control of the Germans. At this point, I don't really see what the Allies can do except just be a little bit more, I guess, proactive. They're just kind of letting themselves get bled to death by the Sturm Tiger, letting themselves get bled to death also by the Stuka, which has died. Guessing it was part of a flank from an Easy 8 attack. Oh no, it's still alive. It's there. 46 kills using an incendiary barrage now that it's at Vet 4. Very, very dangerous, especially on something like these 2 AT guns. And Jagdpanzer tries to chase down the S-152, and it might not make it. If it had been destroying the S-152, that would have been worth it. But unfortunately it wasn't. And again, the second Jagdpanzer goes down without doing anything. I'm just not really too happy about those Jagdpanzers. I mean, in general, when I like to have Jagdpanzers is first against the Brits, because of course Firefly's kind of vulnerable to the Jagdpanzers, and in general Churchills, etc, etc, etc. But also against not IS-152s, IS-2s, and against Su-85s. Now, Su-85 did go down in that engagement. I'm guessing that the Jagdpanzer had a hand in that. But, I mean, any German tank could have dealt with the Su-85 with, you know, sufficient micro. So that was not just because of the Jagdpanzer that Su-85 went down, I'm guessing. Now, not sure on this push from the Allies. So they have the 3 Easy 8s. And they're going in on the Panzer headquarters from Thunderhun, which is actually deceptively good because it's going to stop him from building those damn Jagdpanzers. He's going to be forced, I guess, to build some KTs. Well, some AKT. Or maybe spam Pumas. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised with anything in this game. Yeah, I'm thinking he's gonna go for the KT because he's not instantly replacing the truck, so I'm guessing he's not going for a new supply half-track, he's not going for a new Panzer. That pretty much only leaves the KT. And that's bad. Retreat? Nope, never mind. Yeah, the Allies are just losing too much infantry, as I kind of expected in the early game. I mean, I've just seen this happen way too many times. The Allies really didn't know how to deal with the 2 Sturms. They really didn't know even how to deal with obviously the artillery, the support gun, and the Stuka. I think some Katyushas, I'm just calling it right now, the Allies are not going to win. This is my opinion, might be wrong, but I think that the Allies should have gone for a couple more Katyushas. Or perhaps, instead of... Well, actually, no. The rifle company is okay. These 8s are not bad, especially when somebody is going for KTs, Jagdpanzers, and Sturm Tigers. All those units are pretty slow and easy to flank. Well, Jagdpanzer's not slow, but it's easy to flank. So the Easy-8s are good, right? Because they're, of course, pretty high-tier medium tanks. You can just use them, get behind the enemy, blah, blah, blah. But perhaps tactical support might have been a good decision for Box of Toothpicks. Going for the, Calliope might have just been very, very strong in this game. Because, of course, they needed to counter the German artillery. They needed to counter the Stuka. And what better way to do that than, a tank with rockets on it? Because when the enemy has a half-track with rockets on it, thus, a little bit better armored than a truck with rockets on it, aka the Katyusha, you just need to up the ante and go for the tank. You just need to have something that's kind of more survivable to be able to use as a counter battery with relative safety. And also, then it could have been still useful against the German infantry. At the same time, of course, the Soviets can always go for a Katyusha, whereas the Allies, the Americans, can't really go for advanced medium tanks unless they're going for something like T-34-85s or Easy-8s. So there's kind of a difference in availability there. At the same time, Zombie Squad didn't go for Katyushas. He went for the SU-152, which was a good choice. He lost the first one, which, hey, could have gone better. But then he decided to go for T-34-76s and Su-85s instead of investing in a Katyusha, which is, in my opinion, a bit of a mistake. He should have gone for at least one of them to just soften up the German infantry and, of course, be sort of there as a retaliation method. If you fire your Stuka, you're gonna get counter-batteried by my Katyusha, right? And eventually your Stukas are gonna die, because I'm gonna have 2 Katyushas, and eventually they're gonna hit a couple of shots. They're not gonna be unlucky, and your Stuka's gonna die with its currency. So that would have sort of, even without doing substantial concrete damage, it would have still put Cape 97 into a sort of a state of, like, maybe I shouldn't be firing, maybe I should be more careful, maybe I should be firing and then just microing it, getting it out as quickly as possible, and maybe he makes a micro mistake somewhere else. It's just very, very important to keep your opponent on his toes without having him just get things for free, which is exactly what the Germans did. They were able to use their STURMs to get kills on the infantry for free, with absolutely no risk involved. They were able to use the artillery to get kills on the infantry and support weapons for free, no risk involved. Whereas the Allies were just kind of playing in another game altogether. They were trying to use everything that was not artillery, that was not, capable of countering Sturmtiger, the artillery pieces, etc., etc. They tried to go for normal combat units, which of course normally can be very, very good, especially it allowed them to keep a lot of map control on the field, because they had a focus on combat units, they had a lot of support weapons and normal attack units, so they could take and hold. But eventually they just kind of got attritioned out by the Germans. And at this point, the Germans can just kind of wait. The Allies are very low on troops. They kind of can wait, and this is the final assault. There's 4 Easy-8s. In the meantime, there's another KT from Thunderhun. Again, kind of the paradox of that Schwerpanzer reporters going down is the fact that it kind of helped Thunderhun guide him into the right decision of unit. Because really, the KT, whenever there's something like this on the field, isn't bad at all. And unfortunately, the Sturmtiger misses. Very unfortunate. 2 KTs and 2 Sturms is very, very good. Right now, Cape 97 could be coming in to help out his ally against the 2 Easy-8s. 2 Easy-8s unfortunately get kind of stuck firing at some infantry, and now they get also shot at by the Königstiger. The other allied units are just kind of standing by, not doing much. So the big flank of a lifetime could have been accomplished, doesn't really materialize, and that was pretty much the last ditch effort from the Allies. At this point, I don't really think that there's much they can do. They've still got lots of VPs in reserve, but they don't really have the units to actually push in. There goes one of the Easy-8s, there goes the second one of the Easy-8s having to run away, and then the 2 more Easy-8s are having to repair in a corner of the map, and that's kind of bad because, of course, there's nothing that's stopping the Germans from just walking in and killing the crews if they don't just retreat quickly enough. In the meantime, Su-85 and this Vera boy clearly got hit by a lot of stuff. So of course, if the Sturm Tigers get reloaded, which they are doing right now, they can just move up and I guess try to get a coup de grace dealt against the Soviet TVs, which would be the end of the Soviets. They don't really have, well, they do have enough fuel to replace this Vera boy, but hey, it would be Veteran C0 as opposed to Veteran C2. In general, quite a lot of problems. Oh, turning the tables. Very good job from the Allies. Actually trying a bit of an offensive, getting a counterattack on the King Tiger that was chasing down the Easy-8s, but I'm guessing the King Tiger is going to win this fight, especially with the support of these POGCHAMP with PTRSs. Using the PTRSs to get rear shots on the Easy-8s and allows the KT time to escape, get its frontal armor facing the Easy-8. There goes the second one, and the third one also is in trouble. This is the last of the Easy-8s, and right now it's kind of running away. King Tiger tries to chase it down, gonna try to, I think, target ground, some Stuka shot, no, Sturm Tiger nails guard squad, and at this point, this Easy-8 is done. So, is it? No, it isn't. Very lucky. Yes. How many guard squad has zombie squad lost? I'm guessing, it's zombie squad, he loses squads, Kappa. Anyway, I'm thinking it was, well, probably around 8. He's produced 8 and lost 6. So, yeah, this is kind of a demonstration. I mean, guards aren't cheap. They're 360, are they? Yeah, they are. And, oh, Rip Stuka. Rip Stuka. Wait, what? No munitions. Unfortunate. Is he gonna be able to escape? That Stuka has 54 kills, one of them a vehicle. Fires 2 rockets and hits one of the riflemen. And gets the Veteran C5 promotion. Hilarious. Anyway, the 2 Sturm Tigers are up to 32 plus 18. So 40, 50. 50? Yeah. Not bad for 2 Sturm Tigers. Also to consider the fact that one of these Sturms also had more... Yep, Repus 85. One of these Sturms had more kills over there, and it got abandoned. So very, very strong usage of the Sturms. Yeah, that absolutely paid for itself to have 2 Sturms. Limited to only 1 on the field. Nope. Absolutely not. Just gonna screenshot that, because, you know, that was pretty awesome. And... a Puma! Really, Thunderhun. Really, a Puma. He managed to lose a 3rd KT. Damn it, Thunderhun. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Well, at least he got the last remaining, you know, American tanks. Oh, great usage of the Puma. Actually using it as a smoke launcher for the KT. Managing to save it from the 280 guns firing upon its rear. It's gonna be the surrender. Thank y'all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this fucking hilarious game. And I'll see you soon. Thank you to everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Hope Caper97 got his ego satisfied. Yeah, see you.